Well, hello. Welcome to April 11th, 2022. I'm Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. Still feeling a little bit out of sorts. Just a little tired and overworked. It's funny because I'm not working as much as I used to, but no second job. Used to, or two jobs for a couple of years. Just kind of became part of the thing. Anyway, this is my Good Life meditation. I do this every day, every morning, to remember my life objectives and principles, and to see how I'm doing applying these, and to plan for the day. I think part of the reason I'm feeling kind of out of sorts is my Good Life creed suffered a blow this weekend. You know, it's a struggle to realize when you're wrong. Although the very first principle in the Good Life, not the first objective, but the first principle, is the principle of war. To be always, which is my reminder to always be fighting against what I think is true. And I've succeeded in that war this weekend, in that I've liberated hope from the catalog of sins in my one principle, sin and damnation. I discovered that I was, thanks to Dr. Johnson, discovered that I was wrong in my estimation of hope as a sin. Indeed, it counts as some quality of happiness. I needed a new thought on that. This came to me in bits. I ran across this in about maybe a month ago while reading volume 1 of Boswell's Life of Johnson. And when Johnson mentioned that happiness was, that hope was maybe the purest form of happiness, I thought, wait, what? Hope is happiness? No, hope is an awful thing. It's a sin. It's desire and want and wishful thinking, uncoupled from any action, just standing there all by itself, clutching at pearls. And then I ran across another quote on the weekend, I think it was Saturday, about how Dr. Johnson related that happiness is never in the moment. This was a quote from Pope, Alexander Pope. I can't do the quote justice, but it was something about the effect that happiness was, or that blessings were never in the moment, or were always to be. I can almost say it. Blessing never is, but to be, something like that. Man is never blessed. Man never is, but to be blessed. I think that's it. Man never is, but to be blessed. Meaning that we never have really happiness in the moment of now. We're always anticipating a happier day. And then Johnson added to that observation that that is a very pure form of happiness, to hoping for what's coming. And then I talked about it with Yumiko over the weekend, a couple of times through the weekend. She and I talked about it, and we realized that happiness is best achieved in forecasting and in retrospect, looking forward towards a happy day, and then looking back. I talked about that beach idea. Going to the beach, the planning for a weekend day, an outing to the beach, and then the reality is pretty rough with all the traffic and the crowds and the flies and the guy with two down with the loud radio. Pardon me. So there's something less in the actual experience of the thing. But then, fast forward 10 years, the kids are older, we look back and we forget about all those annoying details. We have a happy memory. So hope in retrospect, maybe. Maybe that's it. Hope in retrospect. Maybe that's what I can call it. So I could make those sub-principles. The principle of fun. Although the principle of fun was mostly just to be focused on more. Maybe I can expand it. The principle of fun was to be more, I want to say the word petty, but it's not petty. More incidental pleasures. Literally having fun. Maybe it deserves a greater scope. Maybe it should be the principle of joy or the principle of happiness, with the sub-principles of hope in retrospect. Yeah, wow, I like that. I like the flavor of that. Wow. Okay. As for yesterday, it was a great day. I mean, I really enjoyed yesterday, even though it was tiring at times. You know, Yumiko and I, it was just mostly a day for Yumiko and I. My chores were all done. She had some chores she had to do. She did those quick in the morning. Well, I attended to the dogs and a walk. And then we took off from there. We went out for breakfast. We had a really good breakfast at Yellow Basket. Who knew that Yellow Basket was actually an awesome place? I had a kind of a so-so lunch there when we were moving here, but it's a nice place for a fast food restaurant. Good food, friendly service, clean. At least the one here in Menifee. They've got a senior menu too. So we had breakfast there. And then from there we went to the Salvation Army in Paris, Perris, California. And I got a frame that I wanted for my John Steinbeck print, and a little cup for beer. And Yumiko found some stuff too. And then from there we were off to garage selling. We had fun. We met some really nice people at the garage sales. And then we had lunch at a really good Indian place. But forget about getting any water from them. I'd asked for cups of water and it never came. So I finally just went over to the cooler and got the 2 bottles of water. Paid $4 for 2 little, things of water. You could pay 25 cents for at Costco. But it's okay. It was really good food. We split the lunch special, and then got some samosa on top of that, and it was really good. And then we had a really in-depth conversation throughout the day. Kind of the conversation just picked up and left off throughout the day about the nature of happiness, this very thing I was talking about earlier. And we talked about how our we're moved back to Japan. Upcoming, we don't even know when it's going to happen. But we're all plans now are to do it. And we talked about how, we should really enjoy the build-up if what we were learning about happiness is true. The hope. I forgot to turn that light on. I knew I did. Hope is one of the purest forms of happiness. And we ought to really enjoy the hope of going. I ought to lay it in. I was thinking about starting a new YouTube playlist called the Return to Japan playlist, because I did the Return to USA one when we came back here. I really ought to do that. I had to start that playlist and start populating that thing with videos and get the rest of the apparatus ready. And then we came home, and then we just hung around the house. Emily and Yumiko were doing something for a while. I took the dogs for another long walk. It was a great day. Really didn't get ambushed by anything. No big challenges. I kind of foresaw something. They're doing some construction on the road where the road that goes from here to Lake Elsinore meets up with the 15. And I told Yumiko, I said, I'm going to avoid the construction area because people are nutty drivers there. And it, you know, I don't need that. I don't need that. So I'll just take a diversion around it. And we did. And I enjoyed that diversion we found. We found a new area. I got to see some sights at the area that I hadn't seen before. It was a great day. Yesterday was a great day. Okay, let's do the good life. My 7 objectives are to be always ready to die, to have all my life in order, everything settled to the best of my ability. And then number 2 is to make good and effective use of my time, to not waste my life with distractions. Number 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, which is precisely what I was doing this weekend, working on finding a home for hope. That's a good one. Good one. A home for hope. Next is cultivate good emotional reactions, just to react well to the days. And then perform good actions, doing good things throughout the days. And then to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities, what is within my ability and what is not. And then to do just one thing at a time, and to do that thing slowly. Next is my 30 principles. The first of these is the principle of war, to always be fighting against what I think is true, like my supposition that hope was a sin. I fought against that and have defeated myself. Turns out it's a virtue after all. Kind of knew that. All the while I was like, I think I'm wrong about this. Next is reason and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt, which are how I march through life. Then comes the homunculus, the concept of, well, it's not even a concept, it's a fact, a seeming fact that we have a consciousness between our ears, but I don't think we have any soul. So I need to focus on enjoying and making use of this consciousness during the years that I'm still alive. Pardon me. Next comes the Anchorhold, the idea that our consciousness, this sense of ourself, sense of thinking, is trapped. I picture it as a little rock sticking out of the sea with the weather and the waves and the rain, and can never get off. And you and others are out there on your rocks, some distance away. You can't swim in the sea. The sea's deadly. It's too deep. As if depth was dangerous. I guess it is in some ways. So we stand on our rock, you and me, and we wave and we shout. And that's as best as we can do as society, as far as one another. Ultimately, I'll slip into the waves on my own. You will too. Even if we go together, we go on our own. Next comes the home of good and evil. Right and wrong are opinions that we develop and maintain. Next comes purpose and the sub-principles of biology, virtue, and mission. Biology being the purpose of of reproducing ourselves, of having children, and getting another generation going. And then virtue, well, I want to be a virtuous man, doing good things. Where good is defined as the improvement of the well-being, the happiness of thinking creatures. Maybe that also includes hope, right? Next comes the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces. And soon I'll be back to bits and pieces. And never again this thing that I am now. Then comes the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature. And then after that comes the pirate ride. Everything is just my idea that there's no free will. God, I'm really suspicious of this one, given how wrong I was about hope. How obviously wrong I was about hope. Still, I'm holding to this one still, even though I can't prove it. It's a principle of faith. I'm really suspicious, especially because I know that I'm holding this one on faith, which is a sin. Still, I suspect it's true. Then comes maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. Being better by remembering my successes and failures and being strong to pursue the former and avoid the latter. Next comes complete oblivion. There's no life after death. This is the end. We'll never see our loved ones again. We can't have a chance to reconnect with them after death. We won't have a chance to make amends, and there'll be no justice, where justice was not met in the life that we live now. Next comes the I have a feeling I really messed that up. Sin and indemnity. Great. Wow, I really messed it up. Purpose, atomic principle, nature, pirate ride, maturity. Wow, I really messed it up. Where did I put complete oblivion there? I'm off. After the principle of nature comes the great life adventure. One or more. Wow, where am I? After that comes maturity, wisdom, and fortitude. The social principle. We need each other. The social principle. Wow, we need each other. Then public speaking. Being very careful about how I speak, using few words, carefully chosen words, and never to gossip. Then comes temperance, suffering, simplicity, and apathy. The horror show. Life is a scary place. That which must be borne, the fact of what we must carry through life. Then comes then comes the Feast of Offal. And then after the Feast of Offal comes distraction, and then agency and the great indifference, and then the best seat in the house, and then the path of wildness, and then the risk of avoiding risk, and then the sin and damnation, complete oblivion, the great life adventure, the season of philosophy, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, and then the principle of fun and the sub-principles of hope and retrospect. Oh, I like the way that sounds at the end there. Well, look what I did there. I kind of slipped in the lightning round. That's okay. I'm totally going to let myself get away with that. It's a Monday and I got a big day ahead of me. Not really. It's not like I have a lot of meetings, but I have some important meetings. And it's going to be a tricky day. Today's the day that I would like to rest. But I can't. Still got to work. And I will. And I'll work well. I'll work hard. I'll do a good job today. That's what I do. All right. Boy. Ready for retirement. Let's sign off. Take care. Be safe, but not too safe.